Today, I'll be going over the basics of the home buying process. I'm going to be going over the process itself, along with some of the do's and don'ts, and then just some recommendations I have as a realtor. Whether you're someone that I have met in person, I'm sending this video to you, or you're someone online who stumbled across this video. My name is Joey.Nemetz. I'm a realtor based out of Minnesota. But without further ado, let me get into this. I'm going to try to keep this video under 10 minutes, just breaking down the process very quickly, but hopefully this information will help you throughout your home buying process. Starting off is the pre-approval. For now, I'm just going to really just breeze through this process and go into more detail in a little bit. But first thing you need to be doing is pre-approval. It can take 1 to 2 weeks. You can get it done in a couple days. Sometimes it can take 3 to 4 weeks, completely dependent on the person and the loan officer. Your next step, obviously, is your home search. Luckily, with your pre-approval, you know how much you can afford, your price range, and you can really narrow in on a home that's going to be suitable for your needs. Next thing, you got your offers. You find the house, you get to finally make an offer, and then hopefully that gets accepted and you're under contract. And this is where the transaction itself really starts. Once you're under contract, the next step is the home inspection. It's usually like a home inspection period is how it works. So that'll be stated in the purchase agreement. You can actually do this 7 days, 10 days, 5 days. I usually do 7 days because it usually takes 3 days to schedule your home inspection. And then that way I have 4 days to negotiate any repairs my buyers want addressed. Once the home inspection contingency is removed, then you move on to the appraisal. Now, two things can happen during this process. It'll either appraise or it won't. If it doesn't, you'll have to negotiate what happens from there. Sometimes that can be pre-written into the purchase agreement what happens. Sometimes you just gotta play it by ear. After the appraisal is figured out, then you have to wait. It's just the title process. It takes about 1 to 2 weeks for the lender and title to get everything prepared and clear to close. And then closing date. You go into your title company, you sit down for about an hour, you sign papers, and you get your keys. And then let's really break down this process. Some pre-approval do's and don'ts. I think this is one of the most important parts of the home buying process. This can either set you up for success or failure, and I can kind of explain that right now. You really want to pick a good LO. There's good LOs, there's bad LOs. If you pick a bad LO, they're going to issue a pre-approval that is inaccurate. You're going to get to closing day, or not closing day, you'll be in the middle of the title processing phase after you get through the home inspection, after you get through the appraisal, and then this lender is going to tell you, yeah, so I know we approved you for $200,000, but we can actually only issue you $150,000. So you need to come up with $50,000 in cash, or you can't close. And I have seen this happen before. And that's why I really do recommend you pick a loan officer who knows what they're doing and does their due diligence. So if you have a loan officer who's nagging you and making sure they get all of the information out of you, they feel like you're getting squeezed dry out of information, that is a good thing, trust me. Another thing, just avoid working with banks. Loan officers from banks don't work on the weekends. So let's say you're looking to write up an offer on a Saturday. Well, you have to wait for Monday to get that specific pre-approval letter for that specific address. I know a lot of LOs from banks will not answer their phone on the weekends. And this can put you in a very negative situation if you're looking to make an offer on a Saturday and it's a seller's market and there's 3 other competitor buyers putting in offers and you just don't get to put yours in. Definitely recommend picking a good LO, mortgage broker. Sometimes it is good to take your realtor's recommendations because we don't get paid for referring you to an LO. We refer people to LOs that we know and trust because we know they'll do a good job and then there won't be problems in the future in the transaction. The home search, it's very, very good to figure out your wants and needs. What I like to tell my clients is to figure out price, location, condition. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to pay more for a specific location and sacrifice the condition of the home? Or do you want a good condition home and but then you have to pay a higher price in a different location than you wanted. It's really good to narrow down what you want to sacrifice or what you don't want to sacrifice. So that's my recommendations in the home buying process to really narrow those things down. Under contract and home inspection. So you finally have your house under contract, you're moving into the home inspection period. you're going to walk into that home inspection and a home inspector is going to tell you everything wrong with the house. This is normal. Prepare yourself for it. And there will be issues with the home that most likely need to be addressed. I have seen homes that don't need anything addressed. But if you're buying maybe like a house in Minneapolis that's from 1920, there's going to be issues in that home that are going to be need to be addressed. So just prepare yourself for it. Um, Emotionally prepare yourself for it because buying a home, it can be a very emotional process. So just beware. The appraisal, like I said, two things can happen during the appraisal. It either appraises or it doesn't. Again, I don't think I mentioned this in the beginning, but sometimes if it doesn't appraise for the purchase price, sometimes in the purchase agreement, the buyer will agree to cover a appraisal gap. Usually you'll see those types of terms in a seller's market because if you're in a multiple offer situation, that's an attractive thing for a seller, especially if you're offering over the purchase price. Or it appraises, you don't have to worry about any of that. Title processing. So this is where things can go wrong. Typically, they won't go wrong. There could be title defects, or where I personally have had experience where things can go wrong is, the loan officer coming back and saying, "Oh yeah, we missed something. We didn't realize, you took out this loan, or you pay child support, or oh well, we saw you just took out a furniture loan, and now that affects your pre-approval, and we can only issue 290,000 instead of 300,000. So you need to bring $10,000 to the closing table. So yeah, things to avoid to make sure nothing goes wrong in this part of the transaction. One, pick a good loan officer, like I said in the beginning of the process, and two, don't take out loans. Like when you're trying to buy a home, it affects your pre-approval and it affects if a bank or a lender is going to be able to issue the loan for the amount that they said they could. Next, clear to close. Nothing can go wrong here. Once you're clear to close, you're good. You come in on closing day, you sign all your papers, you get your keys to your house, and you get to walk or drive home to your new home. So, yeah, that is the basics of the home buying process. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was educational. I hope this helps you navigate your home buying process, and I definitely hope this helps you avoid some issues I've sadly seen my clients face during their home buying process. I really do think my biggest one is picking a good LO. I have seen, too many times in my experience where an LO has ruined a home buying process for my clients. So yeah, just do your due diligence, pick a good LO, and have a good home buying process. If you're from Minnesota and you're interested to learn more, if you have any questions, I'll leave my email down in the description. Feel free, email me. I'll shoot you an email back. And if you want help with your home buying process in Minnesota, I'd be happy to help. But other than that, have a good rest of your day.